covering various aspects, often 100 Tax Laws Overview. Creating a comprehensive list of 100 specific tax laws is challenging due to the vast differences in tax regulations across countries and regions. However, I can provide a more extensive list of general tax principles, concepts, and specific tax laws that might be present in various countries. Keep in mind that this list is illustrative and not exhaustive. 1. Income Tax Act. Legislation defining how individual and corporate income is taxed. 2. Tax Code. Comprehensive set of tax laws covering various aspects, often organized by topic. 3. Progressive taxation. The principle that higher income earners pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes. 4. Marginal tax rates. Different tax rates apply to different levels of income. 5. Tax credits. Incentives to reduce the amount of tax owed based on specific criteria, such as education or energy efficiency. 6. Tax deductions. Expenses that can be subtracted from taxable income to reduce the amount of income subject to taxation. 7. Capital gains tax. Tax on the profit from the sale of assets like stocks or real estate. 8. Value-added tax, VAT. A consumption tax added to the price of goods and services. 9. Sales tax. Similar to VAT, a tax added at the point of sale. 10. Property tax assessment. The process of determining the value of real estate for tax purposes. 11. Inheritance tax. Tax on the transfer of assets from a deceased person to their heirs. 12. Estate tax exemption. The threshold at which an estate becomes subject to estate tax. 13. Excise tax on luxury goods. Special taxes on high-end or non-essential items. 14. Tax amnesty programs. Periods during which individuals or businesses can pay outstanding taxes without penalties. 15. Transfer pricing rules. Guidelines for pricing transactions between related entities to prevent tax evasion. 16. Tax withholding. Employers withholding taxes from employees' paychecks on behalf of the government. 17. Tax treaties. Agreements between countries to avoid double taxation. 18. Tax fraud penalties. Penalties for intentionally providing false information on tax returns. 19. Tax evasion. Illegally reducing tax liability through deceitful means. 20. Social Security tax. Tax to fund Social Security programs, often split between employers and employees. 21. Medicare tax. Tax to fund the Medicare health insurance program. 22. Net operating loss, NOL, carryforward. Allows businesses to offset future profits with past losses. 23. Tax residency rules. Guidelines determining an individual's or company's tax residency status. 24. Tax court. Specialized courts for resolving tax-related disputes. 25. Thin capitalization rules. Restrictions on the amount of debt a company can use for tax purposes. 26. Tax filing deadlines. Dates by which individuals and businesses must submit their tax returns. 27. Tax installment payments. Spread out payments to ease the financial burden of a large tax bill. 28. Tax-exempt organizations. Entities not subject to certain taxes due to their non-profit status. 29. Tax refund. Amount returned to a taxpayer when their tax payments exceed their liability. 30. Ad valorem tax. Tax is based on the value of property or goods. 31. Tax impact on investments. Rules governing tax implications for various investment types. 32. Carbon tax. Tax on the carbon content of fuels. 33. Goods and services tax, GST. Similar to VAT, a tax on goods and services. 34. Property tax assessment appeals. Process for challenging the assessed value of property for tax purposes. 35. Gift tax. Tax on the transfer of money or property while receiving nothing or less than full value in return. 36. Taxation of foreign investments. Rules governing how income from foreign investments is taxed. 37. Tax on passive income. Tax on income earned from investments rather than active work. 38. Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, FATCA. Legislation requiring U.S. citizens to report their financial accounts held outside the country. 39. User tax. Tax on specific goods or services, often with the goal of influencing behavior. 40. Exit tax. Tax on individuals who relinquish their citizenship. 41. User fee. Fee charged for specific government services. 42. Employee benefits tax. Tax on non-wage compensation provided by employers. 43. Mansion tax. Tax on high-value real estate properties. 44. Parking tax. Tax on employer-provided parking spaces. 45. Tobin tax. Tax on financial transactions, often applied to currency exchange. 46. Sales tax holidays. Temporary periods with reduced or eliminated sales tax on specific items. 47. Tax treaties for the exchange of information. Agreements facilitating the exchange of tax-related information between countries. 48. Sin tax. Tax on products harmful to health, like tobacco and alcohol. 49. Tax on cryptocurrency transactions. Rules governing the taxation of transactions involving cryptocurrencies. 50. Digital services tax. Tax on revenues generated by digital services companies. 51. Net wealth tax. Tax on an individual's or corporation's net wealth. 52. Real estate transfer tax. Tax on the transfer of real estate. 53. Health insurance mandate. Requirement for individuals to have health insurance or pay a penalty. 54. Tax-free savings accounts, TFSA. Accounts allowing individuals to earn investment income tax-free. 55. Tax on advertising revenue. Tax on income generated from advertising services. 56. Luxury tax. Tax on high-end or luxury goods. 57. Tax on rental income. Tax on income earned from renting property. 58. Interest deductibility rules. Limitations on deducting interest expenses. 59. Tax on digital downloads. Tax on the purchase of digital goods or services. 60. Tax on short-term rentals. Tax on income earned from short-term rentals, like Airbnb. 61. Tax on lottery winnings. Tax on income generated from winning a lottery. 62. Tuition tax deduction. Deduction for educational expenses. 63. Tax on alimony. Tax on payments made as part of a divorce settlement. 64. Annual tax on enveloped dwellings, ATED. Tax on high-value residential properties owned by companies. 65. Home office tax deduction. Deduction for expenses related to a home office. 66. Minimum tax for corporations. Ensures that corporations pay a minimum level of tax. 67. Tax on nonprofit organizations. Tax on income generated by nonprofit entities. 68. Unified estate and gift tax. Combines estate and gift taxes into a single unified tax. 69. Tax on airline tickets. Tax on the purchase of airline tickets. 70. Tax on e-cigarettes and vaping products. Tax on products related to electronic cigarettes and vaping. 71. Remote seller sales tax. Tax on sales made by remote sellers, often online retailers. 72. Road usage tax. Tax on the use of roads, often applied to fuel purchases. 73. Tax on sweetened beverages. Tax on sugary drinks to promote healthier choices. 74. Tax on plastic bags. Tax on the use of plastic bags to encourage environmental sustainability. 75. Tax on agricultural income. Tax on income generated from agricultural activities. 76. Tax on solar energy. Tax incentives or taxes related to the use of solar energy. 77. Tax on remote workers. Rules for taxing individuals working remotely from a different jurisdiction. 78. Tax on streaming services. Tax on subscription-based streaming services. 79. Tax on peer-to-peer transactions. Tax on transactions facilitated by peer-to-peer platforms. 80. Tax on professional services. Tax on income earned from professional services like legal or consulting services. 81. Tax on unemployment benefits. Tax on income received as unemployment benefits. 82. Tax on stock options. Tax on income generated from stock options exercised by employees. 83. Foreign earned income exclusion. Provision allowing U.S. citizens living abroad to exclude a certain amount of foreign earned income from taxation. 84. Tax on entertainment expenses. Tax on expenses related to entertainment and client hospitality. 85. Tax on exported goods. Tax on goods produced domestically but sold internationally. 86. Tax on internet sales. Tax on sales made through online platforms. 87. Tax on lease payments. Tax on income generated from leasing property or equipment. 88. Tax on freight transportation. Tax on the transportation of goods. 89. Tax on partnerships. Taxation rules specific to partnerships and their distribution of income. 90. Tax on trusts. Tax rules governing income generated by trusts. 91. Tax on stock dividends. Tax on dividends paid in the form of additional shares of stock. 92. Tax on real estate investment trusts, REITs. Tax rules governing real estate investment trusts. 93. Tax on fringe benefits. Tax on non-monetary benefits provided by employers. 94. Tax on personal property. Tax on personal property like vehicles, boats, or machinery. 95. Tax on gold and precious metals. Tax on gains from the sale of gold and precious metals. 96. Tax on cryptocurrency mining. Tax on income generated from cryptocurrency mining activities. 97. Tax on research and development expenses. Tax treatment of expenses related to research and development activities. 98. Tax on charitable contributions. Tax rules governing deductions for charitable contributions. 99. Tax on intellectual property. Tax on income generated from intellectual property, such as patents or trademarks. 100. Tax on stock buybacks. Tax treatment of stock buybacks by corporations. This list provides a broad overview of tax laws and principles that may exist in various jurisdictions. It is important to consult specific tax codes and regulations applicable to individual countries or regions for a more accurate and detailed understanding of tax laws.